Welcome, friends, to Lizards of the Toast. And do you like breaking things? Me too. No, I don't really like breaking things. In fact, I love fixing things, but this gives me an outlet for that. So, we're going to talk about 8 Whack in 2024. And so far, this has been going really good. We are running, let's get right into it. We'll just get right into it. So, with 8 Whack, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 Memnites. It's a 1-1 for 0. No downside there. We have Voldaren Epicure, this wonderful vampire lady here with the cool hairdo. When Voldaren Epicure enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each creature and create a blood token, which is an artifact. So, we're running 4 of these. Does 1 damage to each opponent, so it's kind of like a triple threat. It gives us a body to block with, a body to attack with, creates the artifact, deals the 1 damage. We're running 1, 2, 3, 4, just like I said. Of course. Now here is an interesting piece. The Skirk Prospector. Sacrifice a goblin and add 1 red to your mana pool. We run 2 Skirks in here. And that Skirk can be very handy early game. And very handy late game as well. In the Dexplanation, I will explain why. We have Goblin Bushwhacker. This is one of my favorite cards because it actually pumps itself and gives itself haste for just 2 mana, and I think that's super cool. Good. Bushwhacker enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here's Baby Whack. This is like the Bushwhacker, but not as good, except it does have haste on its own. But it's 2 in a red, but we're never going to be paying that cost. We're always going to be paying the surge cost. When Reckless Bushwhacker enters the battlefield, it's hasty on its own, but if its surge cost was paid, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Other creatures. So not near as good as the Goblin Bushwhacker. That one's rather too reckless. Anyways, there's our creature base, besides summon the sideboard. Let's see here. Now we will talk about our artifacts. Artifacto de facto. Now, what are we running in here? We're running Experimental Synthesizer. So this, again, is why Skirk is good in there. And I wish I could run 3, even 4 Skirks, but you just can't. Because Skirk on his own, I think 2 is the magic number. But Experimental Synthesizer is 1 red. If you pay 2 in a red, you can sacrifice it and create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. Of course, it's at sorcery speed. They're very clear on that, just in case you should try to do those hijinks at instant speed. When Experimental Synthesizer enters or leaves the battlefield, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. So that's really good. Very good to pop things in and out. And 4 of those. So, we have Chromatic Star. 1, tap and sacrifice Chromatic Star, and 1 mana of any color. Okay, not too relevant in this deck. When Chromatic Star is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. We like that. The drawing of the card is very good. We're just running 3 of these because that cost. And that allows us to have another space to put in our Skirk Prospector too. So if we ran 4 Chromatic Stars, that would be a space that the Skirk wouldn't have to occupy. So, we have Mishra's Bauble, the Bauble. Everybody knows it. It's 0, tap, sack. Look at the top card of target player's library. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. In this case, though, we're just going to be smashing it. We're just going to break it. 4 of those. Now, unlike goblins, we only run 2 Shrapnel Blasts in here, not 3 or 4. So Shrapnel Blast is 1 in a red. Additional cost to play Shrapnel Blast, sacrifice an artifact. Shrapnel Blast deals 5 damage to target creature or player. Great for our blood tokens. Hit those blood tokens. And between the 2 of these, that's 10 damage. Now here is the real damage getter here. All right. All right. Goblin Grenade. Sacrifice a goblin to have Goblin Grenade deal 5 damage to one target. Excuse me. It was a silent belch, Tony. Sacrifice a goblin to have Goblin Grenade deal 5 damage to one target. Now, how about them apples, huh? We got 4 of these, of course. All right, then here comes our rebirthers. So this is where all these goblin tokens are going to come from. So we're going to get these goblin tokens. We're going to get these goblin tokens here. And where they are going to come from is going to be our rebirths. So, Kuldotha Rebirth, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Additional cost to cast Kuldotha Rebirth, sacrifice an artifact. Put 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. Now, when we do the gold fishing, hopefully I can show what is so cool about having a Skirk Prospector out on the battlefield. It'll allow you to get a turn ahead usually. So when I can use Skirk to my highest ability and advantage, I use it to bring out one of our whackers, and it'll allow us to do that goblin whack even better. In addition, it will allow us to play another Kuldotha Rebirth on an artifact by just sacrificing a goblin. We have Gleeful Demolition. Now, this is one of my favorite cards in new sets, man. I love this card. So for 1 red, destroy target artifact. So just 1 red, destroy an artifact. That is good. That is a good card. If you controlled that artifact, create 3 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin tokens. So a card like this, I think this card is just amazing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for our mana base, very small. Well, I wouldn't say very small. But compared to like something like the mono black aggro rack or 8 rack, it is small. So we have mountains. Look at those 3 peaks. 1, 2, 3. And we got a what is that? Mercadian Masks. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 lands, and we have 2 Castle Embereth. And you know what? This actually is a pretty good card. I thought, man, I might just put 1 in there. Just because I could almost justify putting a 3rd one. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain. We always are. Tap and add 1 red. That's fine. But for 1 and 2 red, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Again, that is pretty dang good. Especially if we have like a lot of goblin tokens. We have 1 of these in turn 3. We do not have a whacker for some reason. Or maybe we've already used our whacker and we don't have another one to put out there. So that's what that is for. Now, let us move on to the sideboard. So in our sideboard, we are running 3 lightning bolts. 1, 2, 3. Just 3. I would really honestly like to run 4. But, and it's a big but, I think it's just a bit much when we sideboard it against like creature heavy decks. So we have Smash to Smithereens. Destroy target artifact. Smash to Smithereens deals 3 damage to that artifact's controller. So this is going to get extra damage across. With this in our deck, in our sideboard, we can put it in and we can destroy somebody's artifact. And unlike with Gleeful Demolition, this will deal 3 damage to them. Essentially, it is a Gleeful Demolition without the goblin effect. It's destroy target artifact and a lightning bolt attached to it. So 1, 2 of these, and these kind of work in tandem with the bolts. Now here is a place where this deck can be made budget, but I like these cards in this deck. I put them to great use. The Blood Moons. Non-basic lands are mountains. 1, 2, 3. Now, over the weekend, no, it was Friday night, I believe. I had a game where I actually brought this to play against a bunch of good decks. And I did really well with it. I only lost a couple, and I think I won like 8 games. So, against like 4 and 5 color Omnath, 3 of these in your board, oh my goodness. By the time you play this out, and they got like 10 life by then because you've probably like whacked and stacked some goblins. By the time you lay this out, this is so devastating to their plan that they might as well just scoop, unless they have some kind of enchantment destruction. But I'm running 3 of these in here because if I sideboard these, I want one of these in my hand. I need it in my hand, just like that lightning bolt. We want these in our hand. So Tormod's Crypt is a free artifact. So we're just running 2. For 0, we can tap and sacrifice the crypt and exile target player's graveyard. So basically, it's the Mishra's Bauble, but with the graveyard. And we can use it to make our gobos. So we got 2 of these, right? And instead of having 2 more of those, we have 2 Pithing Needles. Or is it pithing? I think pithing. Just like tithing or something. Like seems like it comes from the same Middle Ages type of speak. So I would guess it's pithing, but maybe it's pithing. Pithing Needle enters the battlefield. Choose a card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So we're running 2 Pithing Needles. Now, if you want to win with this deck, and you want to be able to stand up against some big boys, or even go up against a mirror match, Legion Loyalist, 1, 2, 3. Now, this is probably the most expensive card in the deck, besides Blood Moon. You know, it's kind of up there with Blood Moon, actually. So it has haste. It's a 1/1 for 1, so all good things. But whenever Legion Loyalist and at least 2 other creatures attack, creatures you control gain first strike and trample until end of turn, and they cannot be blocked by creature tokens this turn. So that means we can't be blocked by Mishra's Factory Robot, and can't turn into a 3/3 and block us. We can't be blocked by human tokens. And really, most importantly, in my opinion, the tokens created by things like Orcish Bowmasters can't block. That's a very important thing, especially when we're sending in so many goblins. Anything generating tokens for blockers, like I guess Yawgmoth, you know, they use Grist sometimes, but in my matchups, I found that anything generating tokens, these will find their way in there. And honestly, this is a hard deck to sideboard, unfortunately. The decisions are very difficult to make, I've found. Maybe it won't be the case after I play it more, but it just works so good in the main board. It's very hard to, like, choose what you're going to take out. Well, thanks for joining me there, toasty friends. And I hope everybody's going to have a good weekend coming up here and play a lot of fun Magic, because we're going to have a lot of videos. I'm going to try to put out like 7 game videos this weekend, I think. We're going to do budget versus big dollar. So that should be fun. So join us for that. And I will try to later tonight get a gold fishing Dexplanation video. I like doing the gold fishing for the Dexplanation because it seems like there's more going on, and it seems to be that you guys receive it well and like it. And I always like to do what you guys like, you know. I'm not a selfish man, so if anybody has any suggestions how I can make this channel better, I may have already thought of them, but I sure would like to hear them because I always take things into consideration. So thanks again, friends, and as always, deck list in the description, and you can find it at Moxfield. And I do apologize, we have been having some technical difficulties on Moxfield, I guess, because some of my links were broken, but I think I got them fixed. So, have a good day. Oh, tails.